Hello, I am Apurva, Axway's API specialist. If you are here with me today, you are most likely willing to learn how to automatically create APIs from your databases. Great. That's exactly what I will help you achieve today. Let's look at what we will achieve today. First, we will learn how to install and configure an API Builder data connector. Then we will also learn how to test the generated APIs from API Builder. Let's get started. Before we get started, please make sure you have API Builder installed on your machine and that you've created a project and can run it. Refer to the API Builder standalone Getting Started guide online at docs.axway.com for help with this. Also, we'll need to access a database. We'll use MongoDB for this exercise. You can create a free account on MongoDB Atlas at mongodb.com. Let's take a look at the Getting Started guide. If you go to docs.axway.com and navigate to API Builder Standalone, you'll see a Getting Started guide with instructions on installing API Builder and creating a new project and running it. So head on over to that page if you don't have a project already created and running. And for MongoDB, you can go to mongodb.com and read about Atlas. I already have an account, and I'll show you the database later. Let's go back to the documentation, and we go to connectors. We will actually see the MongoDB connector, and we can see the instructions for installing it. So I'm going to copy that. And then I'm going to go over to Terminal, where I have my API Builder project running, and I'm going to paste in that command. And you can see here that the connector is installed, but it must be configured. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the configuration file and configure that connector. So my API Builder project is here on the desktop. I'll go in there and go into the conf folder, and I can see my MongoDB connector configuration file. So I'm going to open that. And I need the URL. But before I do that, I want to set change two values from false to true. So I do want to generate models from the schema. So for each collection, I'd like to create, for each MongoDB collection, I'd like to create a model. And then from the models, I'd like to automatically generate the API. So I'm going to set those two to true. And now what I need to do is go get the URL from my MongoDB instance. So I'll head back over to the browser, and here I am in MongoDB Atlas. And if I come over here, let me show you what I have. If I go to Collections, you can see I have a database called test01, and I have, it's called a collection. It's the same as a table. I have a collection called dog. And if I look at the documents inside this collection, documents are like records. So I have various different dogs by name and breed. Let me go back here. And what I need is I need to connect to this database. And I'm going to connect to it from an application. And I'm going to select that. And I need this URL right here. So I'm going to copy that. And now I can close this. And I can come back over here and paste this in. And what I need to do is a few things I need to change. So my database was not called test, it was called test01. And my username is L. Brenman, but you can see the password is missing. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to type my password. And then I'm going to save that file. Okay, at this point, I can now start my project. And there it is. So my project is running on port 8080, and I can come in here. I've already copied this URL, localhost 8080 console. So let's go into the browser, and here I am, localhost 8080 console, and I can see my project. I'll just click refresh. So this is my project, API BM, API Builder MongoDB. Now what we want to do is we want to review and test the APIs. So I'm going to go back over to the console, and I'm going to click on that endpoint, dog, and I can see here all the APIs that were automatically generated. And I have APIs for find all, for create, for delete all, to get the count of records, to do a query. All of these APIs automatically generated from that connector without writing a single line of code. So let me expand the find all, and let's test this API. So I can test it by clicking the execute button, and here are the documents or records in my dog database. And I can also come here and I can copy this URL, so I can do a curl command. I have code for a Titanium app, for a Node app, or for a web app to make calls to this API. I'll grab the curl command here, and then I'll come back into terminal. I'll go into a new tab, paste that in, and there's the same data, those dogs. So there you go. Congratulations, you've installed and configured an API Builder data connector, and you created data APIs from your database without writing a single line of code.